Hi, I'm Cathy Camera, the Construction Copywriter, appearing on the online prosperity show with Prosper. Great episode. We've had lots of fun talking about how I service the construction industry and bring value to everyone from tradies up to engineers.
Now, hello there, my online prosperity enthusiasts. Now, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show as we dive deep into the stories and strategies of incredible individuals that are shaping their industries. Now, I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and today we've got a guest who's not only witty, but brings a ton of expertise to the table. Cathy, how are you doing today?
Hi, Prosper. I'm well, and thank you for having me on.
Fantastic. Well, the pleasure is all mine. I've been checking out your stuff and looking you up, and I'm just wondering, wait a minute, where is this tradie woman coming from? And only to realize, no, you actually use the pen to get by
Yes.
in your industry. And for those that are wondering what I'm talking about, get ready for some insights sprinkled with a good dose of humor, because I think this promises to be one of our best episodes yet. Now, Cathy, I could go on and on talking about your accolades and everything else that comes along with it, which defeats the purpose of having you on the show. Could you maybe tell us a little bit about yourself, especially to the person watching right now, what it is that you do
Yep.
in a nutshell?
Yep. So my name is Cathy Camera and I'm the construction copywriter. So basically, I write for people in the construction industry, whether they be tradies or project managers, engineers, anyone really working in the space. And I write things like the SEO web copy, case studies, capability statements, ebooks, white papers, anything, blogs, any content that they need for their marketing. I'm there for them. So yeah, it's pretty good industry to work for.
Fantastic. But construction really is like a male dominated sort of industry and things of that nature. How did you start by,
It is male dominated, but it is changing. There are a lot of women, entering the space now, and a lot of young women I'm seeing who are shaking it up and who are really challenging, the stereotypes and all the rest of it. So that's really great to see. But yeah, I suppose everyone always says, how did you get into construction? Like, it's like you say, it's such a male dominated industry and people think it's a bit dry and a bit boring or whatever. But I find it really fascinating and exciting. I've grown up around tradies. My dad was an electrician, and then he later owned a wholesale store. So I always grew up around tradies. And then when I met my husband, he's a carpenter by trade, ended up as a supervisor, now works in an office in the industry. Yeah, just like so many people I know are tradies or work within the industry. And I also went through 4 home builds of my own with my husband. So I loved the building process, from, drawing a floor plan on grid paper all the way up to, choosing everything that you need for the home. And so when I got into construction writing, I felt like I could come at it from different angles. Like I could come at it from their target audience angle as well as the professional side of things. So, yeah, I have that unique sort of perspective, I suppose.
absolutely like that, because when you can write and relate to the audience, you literally can
Yeah.
help convince them to want to buy from you and things of that nature. But the whole industry has so many moving parts. How do you stay relevant?
Ah, I don't know. Like it's just about, yeah, just keeping up to date with everything that's happening, keeping your finger on the pulse, with the people who are leaders in the industry and who are thought leaders in the space, and just seeing what the needs are. A lot of people in the industry, like, I'm a marketer, sort of like a copywriter marketer, and a lot of them, depending on which side, which end of the sort of spectrum they're on, like a lot of tradies are just, running their own businesses and they're full on, like that takes up all their day and they're not thinking so much about, I have to market my business to get the sort of clients I want. And then the other end is like bigger companies who know they need marketing but just don't have the time and don't have, they just lack the time to sit there, find someone, instruct them. And that's where I come along, because they don't need to spend a lot of time briefing me and so forth. I know the industry, I know what they're talking about. So as long as I can have them for a short period, full on giving me the brief, then I can go away and write, and they don't have to sit there and hold my hand. We don't have to have endless emails and phone calls, and because I know their time is precious. They're out doing their work. They don't have time. So, and I'm never going to get them to sit there for months, in meetings and whatever. So it's just about finding that balance. And yeah.
Fantastic. But as you would understand, I mean, in the construction industry, there's probably carpenters, like you say. Your husband was a carpenter, your dad was an electrician, and there's just so many different sort of facets and moving parts, and it's all very competitive. Most of these people usually pass on jobs to each other via word of mouth. What is wrong with that, and why would they need to hire somebody like yourself?
Yeah, like a lot of them rely on word of mouth, and like word of mouth will get you so far. Like obviously we all like to be referred by other people. I get referred by other people, and that is a great way to get clients, but it's not always the quality of client that you want. Like it's not always the type of work you want. So people could be referring you, oh, my mate needs a job done, or, this person, does this thing, you can hire them, but it might not be the thing that they like doing. Like a carpenter has so many facets. They could build frames, they could do furniture, they could do decking. They might, maybe they don't like to build decks and, pergolas and whatever, and someone refers them, and they take on that work because they feel like, it's a referral and I need to do the work, I need the work, but it might not be the thing that they love. So through marketing, they can target the audience that they want. So if they want to do a specific job within their trade, or within their specialty, then they can attract those clients. Same, with the level of pay. If you want like higher paying clients, you need to target those clients. If you're just throwing yourself out there, you don't know who's going to come along and hire you. So it's more about, targeting who you want. We talk about target audiences a lot, but it's really important, if you want to get, quality work that you're happy with, that pays well, that will get you ahead. And we all want that. Like we don't want to do work that we hate. Like, we all want those ideal clients. So that's why I recommend marketing, even though it might not seem like they need it. It just gets a better quality outcome for them.
Absolutely, I quite like that. And also congratulations on your part, because you did say you managed to go through 4 home builds yourself. Now, as a
Yeah.
customer in that sort of space, what did you find was lacking in the communication or in the way that you were finding information in order for you
Yeah.
to go through that process that you are now helping, your
Yeah.
now clients.
Yeah, well, I have to preface it by saying, I was working with people I knew. I built through my brother-in-law who owned the home company, and my husband worked in the business. So, that made it a lot easier. But I'm always saying, even to them, like when a customer comes along, especially if they've never built before, like building a house is huge. Like they say it's one of the biggest causes of divorce among, couples, because it's a stressful activity, like having to make these major life decisions, and building a house isn't cheap these days. So, you're putting a lot of money, a lot of time into it, and people are asking you to make all these decisions on the go, and you don't understand. You've never seen a building contract before. You don't know how many moving parts there are to building a house, and it can become really overwhelming. And on the builder side, they often take it for granted that the customer knows, because they're doing it every day. So to them, it's second nature. Yep, we do this, we do that. And you have to remind them that you have to communicate with the client. You have to lead them through step by step, and you have to be willing to listen to them, because, they become confused, they become overwhelmed. And it doesn't, even mistakes, like there are always mistakes in building. I think I've said this thousands of times, but there are always mistakes, because you're working with subcontractors, and, there are things you can't control. So there are always going to be setbacks and mistakes and whatever. but it's the way you deal with the mistakes. So if you don't communicate with that client, you don't answer their emails, you don't attend to things that have gone wrong, delays, whatever, then they're going to get upset because they're already nervous, they're already overwhelmed. This is our money, what's happening? So by communicating and keeping them in the loop, you reassure them, and it just ends up a better outcome, because there are going to be hiccups along the way, but it's the way you deal with the hiccups that will give you the best outcome. So yeah, I always advise that.
Fantastic. I mean, obviously, you're talking about building as one of those things that probably a lot of people do maybe once
Yeah,
in their whole lifetime, and builders are sort of taking that for granted. I don't think it's only
yeah,
builders, Kathy. I think even IKEA is taking that
yeah.
for granted, because putting together a chair from IKEA,
Yeah,
usually the instructions manual that
yeah.
they have should also have contacts for divorce lawyers, because I cannot imagine how many times I've actually had been
I can
frustrated,
imagine. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can imagine.
But like it's a good point you make, because even with my job, like I have to remember that, someone coming to me may never have used a copywriter. They don't know the process. So I try to always set it out from the beginning. This is what I do. This is the next step, and just lead them through. So they're assured, they're outlaying this money. These are the steps we go through, and I just sort of lead them through, because otherwise you can't assume that they know, and it's the not knowing that throws people. When people have questions, they get nervous. Like, I've just given you all my money, like what's happening? But if you keep them in the loop and explain things, and, they just feel reassured. Like that's just human nature, I think. So it's important for all of us to remember, no matter what job we do.
Absolutely. All the emotions that are involved, because you're right. This is like the biggest sort of transaction that they make. And it's only, respect, because people come to the internet to get information. And if they
Yeah,
now get that information from your building company, obviously they would tend to work with you. This is where you come in now with SEO web copy, because I've actually started to believe that SEO doesn't necessarily stand for search engine optimization. It is just simply educating others. Just like you have said,
that's a great, yeah.
you're educating people on how you
Yeah.
actually operate. So it's easy when they pick up the phone,
Yes.
they are
Yeah.
feeling confident that the next step, they
Yes.
kind of know what's coming to them. So
Yeah.
walk us through maybe your processes, especially.
Yeah. Yeah. That's extra. Like that's a great acronym there, because like I see a lot of sites, like online construction websites, where I hop on and the homepage doesn't tell me even what they do. And if people have to go searching, that's already a mistake, because the minute they land on your page, there should be a statement there saying what you do and who you do it for. So they know immediately if you're the right person for them and what they're looking for. And then, as you say, they have to educate through their site. They have to have their services listed. Give me information. Tell me what your processes are. Tell me how to work with you. Give me testimonials. Show me case studies, people who've worked with you before. You have to convince people and have them trust you. If you see a site and it looks shoddy and it's messy and you can't find information and there's nobody who's vouched for them, and I'm not going to use them, I'm not going to trust them. So it's all about building authority and trust, within that space. And like you say, it's really competitive. So if you want to stand out and you want to be a leader in that industry, then you have to get your website sorted. And that's like, talking about both ends again, like a lot of tradies starting out, because they have a lot of word of mouth business, they don't feel like a website is necessary to start with. They rely on social media, like an Instagram account or something. But, we all know that that's not an owned channel. Like anything could happen to that at any time. It could disappear, and so forth. You don't have any control over who's on there, what happens with it, anything. So having your own website is really important, and it makes you look more professional. People will even if they find you on social media, I feel like they're always going to go and look for your website to find out more about you. And if it's not there, then it's not there. They don't have the info. So
Oh, absolutely. You should definitely build your own, sort of platforms. And I
yeah.
think as we record this episode today, Facebook has only just turned 20 years old.
100%.
So you can imagine, look at a 20-year-old in your life. They haven't really got it figured out. You know what I mean? They haven't really got it all to.
Yeah,
There's no 20-year-old, I mean, I'm saying this with love and respect, who could literally tell you their life plan and everything else
yeah,
that comes along with
yeah,
it. So it's really wise to make sure that the buck stops with you. You control what
yeah,
information that people sort of get. But it's well true and good that you've sort of been around tradies, and you've done the work on the customer side, but you've gone on and built a business, Kathy, and that's a whole different
yeah.
kettle of fish in and of itself. And what sort of strategies have you maybe used to, first of all, grow your business? Because there's a lot of headache that comes with
Yeah.
marketing, and you seem to have nailed it.
Yeah, that's it. And I think I've grown like in the past few years, but that is a huge thing. Like, it's not just what you do. You could be excellent at what you do, but then the marketing and running a business, that's a whole new kettle of fish. So, and I think the best thing that I did was, find my people, find my copywriting people to begin with, and then my business people. I'm in a couple of Kate Toons groups. She runs a copywriting group, and she started out as a copywriter and now owns a digital marketing, collective group. Where I get to interact with a lot of other business owners, doing what I do. And if I didn't have their support and, their help with things, I wouldn't have got to where I am today. Because I think if I had stayed in my own little bubble with just the internet, like, I would not have, I don't think I would have survived. I don't think most businesses, crash after a couple of years, like, don't last, small businesses. And I think it's because they lack that support. Like, I was able to, turn to them when something went wrong, when something went right, when, I was writing something that I'd never written before. Has anyone done this before? Where do I start? How do I charge for this? How do I, whatever? And there were always people there to help who'd gone before me. And I think that was the most important thing. Like, truly, I don't think I'd be here without those support groups. So, to me, they were the most important thing. And also, educating yourself along the way. You never stop learning. You can't like do one course and say, okay, I know everything. It's like lifelong learning. Like, I think that's something inherent in me. And most business people would be the same. Like, you're constantly learning new things, new platforms pop up, new types of marketing, and you have to be open to them and you have to try things. And I think that's maybe a thing that I'm good at. I didn't assessing myself. I didn't think I was like, I'm a very like introverted person, and like, I wouldn't consider myself out there or brave. But when it comes to things online, I give it a try. Like, put myself out there, create a YouTube channel, make some videos. I might not like the look of them or the sound of them or whatever, but give it a go, because if you're not going to give it a try, then you're just going to stay in one spot. You need to try in order to advance. So that's the only way you're going to know whether something works. It could flop, it could be a disaster, but you won't know until you try. So you have to have that bit of, I don't know, bravery in business, like, to give things a go, I think. So, yeah.
Absolutely. See, if you want to go alone, I mean, if you want to go far, you go alone. But if you want to go further, you go together. And I'm happy that you found your tribe and people that you can bounce off ideas off of, because they're also seeing things from different
Yeah.
industries. And then when you come
Yeah.
together, you now start seeing what's been working. So obviously, you've obviously been successful in your own realm and also in your sort of personal life. But has this helped anybody besides you? All right. Maybe let's talk about the case studies. Within your business, somebody, a construction business that you actually would have helped, especially maybe build their social proof or actually grow their business. I mean, you don't have to name names, but we just maybe
Yeah. Yeah.
value.
I think it was probably, well, it's over a year now, but I introduced some packages called VIP packages, and they were designed to help people in the industry who didn't have a lot of time, and who wanted, copy and content quickly. And when I created those, I attracted a new type of audience, that really wanted that. So they knew their business as well. They knew they needed marketing, but they didn't have time to sort of sit there and, hash it all out. So these packages allowed them to get content up and running quickly, like their websites up and running. The brief between briefing and the website copy being written, it would have been a couple of weeks, and that's unheard of because, the normal process would take, you know, like I've had ones that go for months and months prior to that. Now I make all my website copy VIP packages for that reason. And so they get their copy quickly. They're able to give it to their developers, get their site up and running. And, I've done that for companies who then started ranking for their keywords, be found for the things that they want to be found for, the specialization that they want to, hone in on. So that's how I've helped them. And yeah, just like on the social proof side, things like case studies, by writing those for them, they're able to give them to customers or potential clients and say, look, this is a detailed case study that shows what we do. There are people in this case study who vouch for us, who've talked about what it's like to work with us, the results that we got through this project, and so forth. So yeah, it's a way of amplifying, I suppose, those testimonials and good work that they do.
Fantastic. And thank you so much for sharing that. Now, we all do understand that not everyone is going to be sort of your ideal client and the person that you want to work with. So if a person is watching right now, how can they self-select to think, you know what, I think I'm ready to start working with Cathy? Who do you normally love working with?
Yeah, I think it has to be someone who's willing to trust that I know what I'm doing more than them in the copywriting space, in the content space. Like, I respect that they know more than me in the building or construction space, but they also have to trust that they're hiring someone for a job. Because I think that's where the friction has occurred previously, where it's either gone one of two ways, where they've hired me, but they're like, oh no, like we can write it ourselves. Like it's like that struggle in their mind, like, so they don't really value what I'm doing. So it falls apart. Or the other type of person where it's gone, a bit haywire, is when they've hired me thinking that I can read their mind because I'm a specialist construction writer. They're like, well, you're the construction copywriter, you should know. And I'm like, no, I still need a brief from you. I can't make it up. Like I need you to answer some questions. And they're like, no, you can just make it up. And I'm like, no, I can't. So they're the two types that, if you're not ready for a copywriter, like you need to be able to trust your business in someone else's hands, your content, and trust that they will write it, and like, it's not like I'm writing something and they don't have a chance to amend it. Like, I give you that opportunity. It's a collaboration. That's what it is. So they have to be willing to collaborate with me, give up a little bit of their time to brief me, and then, run with what I give them, I suppose. So, yeah,
Cool.
I think that's what it comes back down to, the value, like valuing what I do.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can't create for and relate to people that, do not see what you're doing as moving the needle for them, especially
Yeah.
they're just not gonna like that. So what would be the best way that people can maybe get started with you, and what's usually the first step?
Yep. So they either contact me through one of my social media platforms, like LinkedIn or Instagram usually, or my website contact form. And the first part, we just discuss the project, what they need. I give them sort of a rough idea of the pricing, and pricing is on my website. That's another big thing I believe in, because if you've never used a copywriter before, you probably have no idea of prices. So if you go on my website, you know what I charge for things. So you know whether you have the budget for it upfront, kind of thing. So we discuss price, and then if they're happy with that, I send through a proposal, like a formal one with all my terms and conditions. Once that's signed and they pay an initial fee, then I send them a briefing form. They fill that out, and then we get it on a video call like this, and we just go through it. And I find that is really important because not everyone puts everything down on the form, or other things come up in conversation which are really enlightening for me. So we have that conversation, and then I go away and write. That's all they have to do. I go away and write the copy, and then all they have to do is look over it and tell me what they want changed. So it's a really like simple process. It's not as hard as some people might imagine. I try to streamline it, and I try to, yeah, as I said before, lead them through each step and let them know what's happening so that they don't feel like they're drowning or lost in the process.
Absolutely. And where would people go to get this started?
Okay, so Cathy Camera is my handle on LinkedIn, Cathy Camera Writer on Instagram, and my website is cathycamera.com.au. That's Cathy with a C and camera like a photo camera. Like, so, should have been a photographer, but
Absolutely. It would take a while for people to believe that that is actually your name. You know, the amount of time I have to explain, yes, Prosper is my name, and I can help you prosper. You know.
yeah. But they try to like fancy it up, like say Camera, like try and change and I'm like, no, it's camera, like a photo camera, like so.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Well, we've just gotten a snapshot of who you've become and who you are becoming and how you're actually helping people, because I feel like when you talk to the people, you actually freeze the moment for them, which they can use again and again and again,
Yes.
which is like a photograph. All right. So
Yeah.
when the construction worker is up on a roof or something like that, they wouldn't want a customer calling them up and saying, so what
Yeah.
sort of nails are you using for your
Yeah.
carpentry, If you've got all that information in
100%. Yeah.
your work, then obviously
Yeah.
it liberates you from all those other calls which take you away from your
Yeah.
actual making money. So yeah, you
Yeah.
help them.
Yeah, you nailed it there. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. They don't want all those phone calls. They don't want to know all the nitty-gritty. They just want to know that you can do the job that they need and deliver. And that's what I do. So
Absolutely. Now, obviously, the work that you are doing is, the SEO copywriting, and also you're touching up on capability statements and case studies. All right. So these are probably one-off sort of, things that need to be done on a website. There's only so much
yeah.
copy that you can write about your services and your products and things like that. Is there any sort of ongoing that you then handle
Yeah.
customer, or is that's it? Once it's done, they're
Yeah,
on.
probably the customers that I do ongoing work for, it's usually things like blogs so that they can, that's a way to keep your website updated and also target more keywords. So people find you through blogs, they find your website, your services, and so forth. So, yeah, probably blogs and case studies is the one where I have repeat customers, so they do more, like I don't write about every single job that they do, but, special projects that they do that they want to highlight and expand on. That's where I come in. So not just short, like little descriptors, like some people there are case studies where you just describe it in a paragraph. My case studies are more like, I interview people that were involved with the project and I write it up like a feature article sort of thing. So, it's sort of like a bit of a hero story within that. Like, this was the problem. This is what the customer wanted. This is what we did. This was the outcome, and I usually get really nuggets of gold in that, like in terms of testimonials, because the construction industry is really notorious for not collecting testimonials. They just don't, like, they don't ask for them. And I try to tell my clients to get into the habit, when they finish a job, when, things are at that point, everyone's happy, get that testimonial. Just ask them if they could give you a couple of lines, even if they record it on their phones and send it to you, like whatever, like just get those testimonials because they're really important for building trust. And yeah, when people are searching, you rely on what other people are saying. I said it's like the difference between you telling someone you're good and someone else saying you're good. There's a big difference, like who are you going to believe more? Like, so yeah, it's really important.
Absolutely. Well, I feel like I've spoken to a pro here. I mean, you know your stuff, you've been there, you've also experienced, the client side and things of that nature. And when I started talking to you today, you were really excited about a word that that's your theme
Yes,
this
yes,
year, and your journey from obviously valuing time to valuing value to bring, what you're doing right now is really, really remarkable. Now, if you could maybe go back in time and maybe give your younger self maybe one piece of advice, what would it be?
it probably instilled that word, which was boundaries at the beginning. But like we all need, I think, I don't know, I don't have regrets because I think you can't know something until you know it. And like you have to go through a journey. You can't have all your ducks in a row at the start when you're starting a business. It's impossible. You can't know everything. You can't know all the hurdles you'll have to jump, all the things you'll have to understand. So I think you just have to be confident, just start, give it a go, and then you learn as you go and you change things as you go. Like I've rewritten my website, 100 times. I've, changed my social media. Like you have to try different things and learn as you go. So yeah, I don't regret anything. I don't, yeah. Like if I had to say something, I would say, yes, have your processes straight at the beginning and have all your boundaries set and all that. But you're just not in that mind space when you start. You're dealing with just starting a business. What do I need to do? How do I find clients? Like, how do I register my business? Where do I advertise? Like all of those questions. So the other things come later and they come from experience. You learn from your mistakes. The bad clients, bad, like that I've had, and the ones that, haven't gone as smoothly, they've made me tighten up my processes. They've made me, put things in my terms and conditions to avoid those problems in future. So we all learn from mistakes. There are no wrong turns, I don't think. Like in business, you just learn. Like,
Abs- Absolutely. I quite like that. It takes 21 years to be 21 years old. So half of the things you've got to go through it. You can't just be a toddler today and an
yeah,
adult tomorrow. So
that's it.
have to go through your go throughs. Now, obviously, looking ahead into the lens of the camera, what's in the horizon for Cathy, the construction copywriter? Any exciting projects? Any more builds coming?
Uh, No, I think I'm moving more into strategy with some of my clients. So, having them see the bigger picture and, where their pieces of content fit into their overall marketing. So that to me is exciting, because we're dealing with, marketing that's serious and, let's look at where the pieces fit and how all the moving parts work together. So I'm excited about that. And last year, I did a campaign marketing course. So that was something new for me, like a new type of marketing. Ran my first campaign at the end of last year, planning to run another one, in a couple of weeks, a smaller one. So that's just a new form of marketing for me, that's slotted into all the other types of marketing that I do. And that was refreshing and exciting for me, like, something different. It's always good to try, different things and freshen things up. So yeah, so they're the things I'm excited about. Working with new people this year. It's a great start to the year so far. So hoping I will attract all those, great people, great clients that I love working with.
Well, I like that. And the fact that you've been in the whole house building sort of experience. There's windows, there's roofs, there's floor tiles, there's bricks, there's cement, everything else combined together gives you an address. Now, for me, that's something that not a lot of people put into consideration because when they look at one thing, they're like, that's going to be the thing that puts me across. So I'm really happy you are, all of these things combined. And
Yeah.
so excited you gave us a snapshot into who you are and who you've become, and pretty much what it is that we can expect. So thank you so much for taking the time with me on the show
Thank you.
today, Cathy.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, it's always great to have a chat and yeah, find out what other people are doing and how other people feel about things and sort of soundboard off people. What am I doing? Does it make sense? So thank you.
Absolutely. And there you have it, folks. A fascinating journey through the world of construction copywriting with the one and only Cathy Camera. She's just given us a snapshot into the life of a copywriter, especially in the construction industry, and how she's helping people do and have a business that's actually profitable and enjoyable. Now, if you're in the construction industry and you found this episode as entertaining and also informative as I did, be sure to hit the replay button and share it with your other construction mates, because they might actually be looking for content like this and not knowing where to start. And if you find some of the stuff that we're putting out there as educational, why not hit the subscribe button, because you never know what you're going to find on the Online Prosperity Show. Now, at the end of the day, I just hope that you keep thriving, keep building out there, keep constructing, and keep pursuing your passions. Bye for now.